We will be discussing capital punishment and whether it is right or wrong. This presentation was researched, created, and voiced by Team 2, consisting of Brandy Honeycutt, Paige Grimes, and Tyler Jorgensen. To get the full effects of capital punishment, one must know and understand all of the methods of execution in which are used. The different methods are firing squads, hangings, gas chambers, electrocutions, and lethal injections. We will cover all of these in the following slides. Execution by firing squad seems pretty primitive. A prisoner is strapped to a chair, and 5 shooters shoot 1 round into the prisoner's heart. Occasionally, a shooter will miss, by accident or choice, and the prisoner bleeds out in a slow, painful death. This method may seem outdated, but it is still an option in the state of Utah, meaning that a death row member may choose this type of execution rather than lethal injection. This method is seen as unconstitutional because the shooters may kill the prisoner slowly, if they so choose. It is hard to find unbiased shooters, especially in well-known cases. Hanging is one of the more well-known types of execution, even though it has been a very long time since it has been used primarily. The last time it was a primary use was back in the 1890s. It has not been used publicly since the 1930s. Today, this method is never used. However, 2 states still have this as an option to their death row inmates. Hanging hardly ever ends in an instantaneous, pain-free death. Typically, the inmate will die of a slow strangling. This is a very outdated form of execution. Execution from gas chambers may be the most controversial method of all, due to the use of gas chambers by the Nazis in World War II. This method is carried out by a deadly gas being pumped into a room with a prisoner inside. The gas causes a painful chemical reaction that shuts down the heart. The reaction is so painful that many have tried to kill themselves prior to entering the gas chamber. This method was first introduced in Nevada as a more humane way of execution in 1924. However, only 5 states still have this type of execution as an option. Most have ruled this unconstitutional. The state of California actually found this method to be cruel and unusual punishment. Electrocution was put into effect because people agreed that there needed to be a more humane method than hanging. Today, no state uses this as their primary execution method. Most state Supreme Courts have ruled that this method is unconstitutional. People believe that this method was more humane than hanging, yet that might not be the case. If the electricity does not kill the prisoner the first time, then they are continually electrocuted until they do pass away. This method is not as outdated as it seems. Up until 2008, Colorado used this method as their primary method of execution. Can you imagine being electrocuted over and over again in front of dozens of people watching? Execution by lethal injection is a primary method used by all states. There are different protocols that the states must follow. Most are subject to the person who is in control of the execution. There are different types of drugs used in lethal injection, all of which, however, do the same thing: paralyze, or put the inmate to sleep, and then stop the heart. The inmate is on several heart monitors to determine death. Death is a result of anesthetic overdose and cardiac arrest. Doctors do not participate in lethal injections because it does not follow medical ethics. This is a problem because lack of medical help can be problematic and things may not always go as planned. There is, however, usually an audience to watch the execution. These injections are sometimes performed by inexperienced orderlies and technicians, some of which struggle to get the job done. Why would the state approve of something that the medical field does not approve of? Now that we have discussed the types of executions used, we must discuss other possible arguments against capital punishment. There are hundreds of arguments against it, way too many to name in one presentation. However, there are 3 very important ones that must be discussed: wrongful executions, lack of closure, and the fact that it is essentially justified murder. There are many reasons for wrongful convictions. In the past, it was due to a lack of DNA evidence. In current society, most wrongful convictions are caused from witness misidentification, whether it's accidental or not. Wrongful sciences are still at fault in wrongful convictions. Bite marks and shoe prints are the leading cause for that. False confessions, or admitting to a crime they did not commit, are the third top reasons for wrongful convictions. The fourth top reason are snitches, typically someone who is already incarcerated, who is offered a lesser sentence to falsify testimonies. Wrongful convictions may not seem like a huge deal, since they can repeal their case and be exonerated or released from prison. However, you have to imagine, what if someone got executed before they were exonerated, resulting in a wrongful death? A lot of people do not see the problem in wrongful convictions because they are not face to face with someone who has been through it. Going over this slide, you see two men, both of whom were exonerated from prison. Some may say, well, he was laid out, so what was the big deal? The big deal is that each of these men lost almost 2 decades of their lives behind bars, all for a crime that they did not commit. Put yourselves in their shoes and imagine what it would be like to be the only person who knows you were innocent. Another thing that no one seems to think about when considering capital punishment is how it must be to the families of the victims. As the man in the photo shows, no one wants someone to die for them, no matter what they did. They want closure. They want the criminal to pay for what they have done, but they do not want that payment to be in the form of their life. Now that you know the ins and outs of capital punishment, from the inhumane methods used to the effects on the victims' families, is it a good form of justice or merely justified murder? You decide. Group 2 would like to thank our many resources for helping to shape our PowerPoint and voice presentation. We could have not done it without them. Thank you.